Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. When we bought our house in 2011, it was just like it was in 1962. Except it had 50 years of wear on it. Now, most of the house was needing cleaning and taken care of, but the big bath was really bad. The flesh-toned tub and sink in it was, to say the least, ugly. After 10 years, we were ready to tackle the biggest remodel. The first thing to go is the big cast iron tub. At least there was an access panel to get in underneath the tub from the closet, but it was not going to be easy. I wasn't really sure it was cast iron. When I first started looking at it, I thought it might be steel, and if it was steel, it was going to be a real bear to get out of there, because it was going to be heavy, and it wouldn't come apart. With hope in our heart and credit cards in our pockets, we set off for Menards with the idea that we were going to walk around and find everything we needed to put the tub in. I knew it wasn't going to be a one-trip deal, but I got the P-trap and I got caulk and masking tape and the tub surround adhesive, which all those things that listed on the outside of the box. I also got valves, shut-off valves, so that I could put some shut-off valves in the lines going to the bathroom. When they put the bathtub in, they didn't put any shut-off valves so you could work on it. You had to shut off all the water in the house. So that was one of the first things that I had to do, was put valves in so I could shut off the water and still run the rest of the house while I was doing a remodel on the bathroom. This process won't work for everybody, but if you have a water softener like this one, it's a really nice way to drain the house. You take the cap off the salt bin, you make sure this hose is pointed down into it. Then you turn this valve until the red patch is showing. Then you turn this valve and that releases the pressure from the filter to allow you to drain the filter. And at the same time, it's draining all the pipes in the house that are connected after the water softener. And you can't see this, but through the pipe I can see that there is a line right here that's slowly dropping down as the building is draining out the water out of all these lines. Unfortunately, this piping system is about 30 feet away from where the water enters the house, so it has to go all the way over to here and then all the way back. It's where they put the water softener before I bought the house. It's where it's always been plumbed in, and that's not worth the trouble to change it. Okay, our water is just about drained out. Now I'm going to go upstairs and open up the lines in the bathroom, on the sink, and in the bathtub, and that'll drain out those lines completely so I can cut the pipes. Now, I previously held the valve up and marked these pipes here, here, and here where I need to make the cuts. I have to allow room for the body of the valve in there, so it's about 1 inch that I'm going to be cutting out of the pipe. After I get the notches cut, I'll sand the ends to make sure I got all the burrs off. I'll put soldering paste on the copper tubing and on the edge of the valve. And then I'll use lead-free silver solder to solder this pipe, because it is against code to use lead-based solder on water lines. So once I get that done, I'll slide this valve up in. I want to have it so that the valve handle is down when it's off. That way it's easily visible and also easy to reach. And I'll put all 3 of them that way, so I can just walk in and say, okay, the valve's off. Then we'll get them soldered in there. For the first cut, I'm going to cut this pipe. And just to make sure I've got all the water drained out, I'm going to hang a 5-gallon bucket underneath that line. That way, if there's any water that comes dripping out of the thing, it'll go into the bucket and not go all over the floor. At least that's the plan. Now I could do this with a power tool, but I'm more comfortable making a stake slowly. A little water dripping out of there, it's just gravity, not under pressure. Now before I do any soldering, I want to make sure that the water lines are completely empty. And the reason for having the water lines completely empty is, if you have water in the line, you can heat and heat and heat and heat and heat all you want, but until that water evaporates or boils away, you will never raise the temperature of the copper tubing above 212 degrees. The water will heat sink it, and you're just going to spend a lot of time heating a pipe and not getting any solder to flow. Now, it may look like it works, but it won't draw in. So you have to make sure that you have the line absolutely empty. So I'm going to shut the camera off, let that sit for a little bit. Got to make sure I got all the water dripped out of it. And we'll come back.
After waiting about an hour, it had stopped dripping, so it was time to get back out down there and finish doing the job. At least I thought I was going to finish.
Yeah, I've got about a half a gallon of water out of it.
Not counting what ran down my arm and landed on the floor.
Now, if you're lucky enough to be working on a brand new house and you're putting new pipe in the brand new house, or at least putting new pipe in an old house, you might not have to do this. But guaranteed, sometime you're going to have to do this. Working up in the rafters, or even worse in the crawl space underneath the house, is a royal pain in the butt. It is awkward, hard to do, hard to reach in, and you have to clean everything because it's been sitting there, in this case, 50 years. 50 years with the same pipe, same tubing, same solder, and all the oxidation on the pipe. So you really have to clean everything if you want it to solder. And that's what you spend most of your time doing, cleaning.
These little acid brushes come in quite handy. Lets me apply the flux evenly. Make sure I got that shiny. There's one in place. 2 more to go. And 1 more to go. This one's gonna be a fun one. Because it's nested in amongst 2 other ones. Now to make this work, I'm going to need to straddle this one I can get to the one behind it. One advantage to having a hacksaw frame that you can remove the blade from, you can remove the blade and reinstall it. Sometimes you want it to cut on the downward stroke, like this case, because it's going to be easier than trying to shove that wobbly pipe up into the while I'm trying to cut it. So with a saw up against it, okay, that one's already drained. That's good. That bucket was in the way. Now cut off this last one. There.
On Monday, we'll solder those valves in place. In the meantime, if you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I rate them all. We're going to be trying to do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday video series now, so I can get caught up on this project. So, we'll see you Monday. Thanks for watching. This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.